Okay, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday. I almost said Monday because it kind of feels like a Monday. We usually have these calls every Monday night, but with the holiday, we're having it on Tuesday, and this is our region call. So I'm just super excited to have a guest speaker on tonight. Her name is Asia. So I originally started following her on social media. I just saw her through Carly Pinchin's stories, and I believe Carly is her direct upline. And then I got to meet her in Sparkling Hill when we had our VP training and everything like that. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I love her. I love her vibe. I love how authentic she is. She shows up as she is. And I think that that's attractive to me because I like that because that's what I'm here for too. And so I asked her to speak tonight and I'm so excited to hear from her because I haven't really fully heard her story, and she's going to give us some amazing tips on just showing up, being yourself, social media, all the things that I know we just love, love, love. So I'm just going to give you a little backstory on her real quick. So Asia started her Arbonne business 4 years ago while she was on maternity leave with her first son. I believe she has two boys now. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was working as a trauma RN prior to this. And then motherhood really just got her shifted to see like she wanted more flexibility in her life. So she was introduced to Arbonne through the 30 Days to Healthy Living, and that completely transformed her health. And she just knew that she needed to share this with so many other people. And that's what she did. So after promoting to region in 21 months into her business, which is so amazing, I can't wait to hear her story. She completely left her nursing field, which is mind blowing because you think people have these careers, they're set for life, but that's not everything, right? And again, like wanting to have that flexibility in your day to day just goes to show that Arbonne can be that vehicle for her. So she's spending more time with her family. She loves traveling, and it's created so much flexibility for her. I believe she's already earned Costa Rica, and I know that her family's going to actually stay for longer and just go and travel and live life, which I'm like, I love that so much. So without further ado, I will let everyone hear from the beautiful Asia, and thank you so much for being our guest speaker tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. And yeah, just thanks for asking me to come on. I love that. Like as an Arbonne community, we don't like gatekeep anything. Like if something's working for someone or you like the way that someone shows up, like we're just like, let's share it with everybody and it doesn't matter. So, as Chelsea said at the beginning of this call, I do have full-fledged pink eye. So I am just kind of like, I'm rolling with it. I said to her yesterday, I'm like, I'm just grateful I don't go to a 9 to 5. Like if I show up for a 30-minute call, it is what it is. Yeah, it's actually way better today. The last couple days have been atrocious, like so bad. And so today is a little bit better. I wore a hat as like a distraction and we'll just get into it. So yeah, kind of like Chelsea said, I am a regional vice president and an independent consultant with Arbonne, and I'm really excited to be here. So my plan for today is to share with you guys a little bit of my journey. I'm going to give you like the Coles Notes version of all of it because I've been doing Arbonne for 4 years. So there's so many little like ins and outs and in betweens of like what has gone on and transpired throughout my journey. So I'll just give you kind of like the short version, the points that I feel are the most important. And then I'm going to kind of bring you guys through a little bit of my social media. I'm not even going to really call it a strategy. It's more so on how I get really clear because the way that I show up on social media is I'm actually talking to a particular person. I don't necessarily know who that person is, but like I am very clear right now on my vision of the types of people who I either want to help with products or who I want to help with the business. And so the way that I show up is exactly that way. I'm talking to that individual, and I truly am just like not a person who values quantity over quality when it comes to my social media. So I have a very average sized social media account, and that doesn't matter to me at all. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty sure half those people are Arbonne people. So, it's like I have a very normal sized social media. It's not something that I strive to like go viral or have this insane amount of followers. And so I feel like my story can be really relatable to people because I really just want to show up in a way that aligns with me and the way that I live my life. And I have built primarily on social. When I did start, I had like 400 Instagram followers. So nothing crazy, very normal. But my business, obviously, to see what's typical, you can see earnings.arbonne.com. It did go quickly for a few different reasons that I'll kind of go over. So like Chelsea had kind of mentioned, um, I had started my Arbonne business when I was a new mom. My first son was 4 months old when I first started. And I was like, definitely one of those people that I did not believe that I needed this business. Like I had been a trauma nurse. So I went to school, obviously got a degree, and then I went back for a specialty in trauma and critical care. And I actually really liked what I did. Like I definitely saw myself doing that for the I wouldn't say like forever. I knew like at some point I'm like, there's always those burnt out nurses. So I was like, at some point I'm probably going to transition out of emergency. But for the time being, young, vibrant, like I actually enjoyed shift work. There was lots of things about it that I liked. I never really saw myself leaving. And even when people would ask me when I was like about to have my first child, they'd be like, oh, did you take 12 or 18 months? Because obviously that's a blessing that we have in Canada, is like the opportunity to take that long. And I was like, oh, I'm taking 12. Like I just always thought I was going to be a working parent. I never saw myself being a stay-at-home mom, to be completely honest, because it looked too hard. I was like, going to work looks easier. But when I obviously had my son, I kind of changed my tune, because the thought of also sending him away so someone else could raise him so that I could go to work, like literally made me want to cringe inside. And so I had been approached to do Arbonne multiple times, and I said no multiple times, like probably at least 6. And the girl who had been reaching out to me to do Arbonne was actually a complete stranger. So her and I had worked like previous years of my life. I worked at a restaurant and she worked at the same chain, but at a different location. So we kind of knew similar people who had just like transferred from different location, whatever. And so we kind of connected on that. And she did everything right. Like she would reach out to me about Arbonne. I'd be like, no, not right now. And then I'd post on my stories like, okay, I'm looking for a clean, safe, like aluminum free deodorant. And she would be like, Arbonne has one. And I'd be like, wow, this girl is relentless. Like that was kind of it. But then she was always like commenting on different things and things about my life. And we had a lot of things in common. And so then eventually she reached out to me to do the 30 days. And we all know kind of what happens when you fully commit to the 30 days. And actually, my 30-day story, and this kind of ties into what I'll touch on a little bit later, but like I was fully committed to doing the 30 days. And I think this is super important to note, and also super important when we're sharing about it with other people, because I only want people who are fully committed to doing the 30 days. Like if they're not, like don't buy the bundle, like get Green Gut Glow, like whatever, because I'm like, if you buy the bundle and you're fully committed, like I sat down with my husband because I was on maternity leave. I was like, okay, there's this program, and I was like ready, right? I was like, I want to feel good. I want to look good. I just had a baby. Like I want to be myself again. And I'm like, there's this program, it's this much. And he was like, if you're not committed, we're sending it all back. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Like I have an accountability buddy basically. And so I bought it, and like obviously everyone's efforts, an individual person, whatever, it all varies. But like I lost 10 pounds in 30 days. I lost 6 pounds in like the first week just from inflammation alone. Like didn't change anything, just what I was putting in my body. I was like, holy smokes, this works. So as you could imagine, like 2 weeks into the program, I was like, I'm doing Arbonne. Like I'm doing Arbonne, like screaming it from the rooftops. And so that's kind of how my business started. Is I was just full blown excited. I do absolutely nothing. My first GTC was 2 weeks into my business, and it was all virtual. The first time they ever did virtual, because obviously this was March 2020. And I was like 2 weeks in, they're like launching strawberry fizz. I'm like, wow. I'm like never had strawberry fizz before. I actually really dislike it, which is hilarious. But like I was so pumped. They're like launching makeup. I like never tried Arbonne makeup. I'm like posting it all over my Instagram. People are like, what has happened to this girl? Like what has happened to her? And so that is truly how I like started my business. And then because of that like excitement and hype, I truly believe like that is what helped promote my business in the like early stages. So obviously, like, to see what's typical, see earnings.arbonne.com. But I was able to promote to district manager in the first 3 weeks of starting my business. And then I was an or district manager, right? In 3 weeks, and then area manager within the first 4 months of starting my business. So that was kind of a wild ride. Hey babe, you're going to have to wait. Okay. Go talk to dad. I'm doing a call right now. And so that was kind of like a wild ride. I truly did not know what I was doing. Like I was just excited. I didn't even know like what was area. I just didn't even know. And again, this was with like a small Instagram following. Like I had less than 1,000 followers. I was just like showing up, and I was excited and I was pumped, and people could feel that energy, and they were excited too. And they were like, I don't know what you're doing, but I think I need to do it. And so that's just kind of like how my business grew. And then from that point on, like when I first started my business and kind of caught the vision, my first like big goal with Arbonne truly was just like, okay, if I can earn half the amount of money that I would typically make as a nurse from Arbonne, and the other half still working as a nurse, I felt like that would have been the perfect balance. And so I kind of got that, like promoting to area manager was that level that I needed to be at in order to maintain that balance. And so I was supposed to go back to work in November of 2020. And I did. And then I literally, like a week after I returned back to work, found out I was pregnant again. So it was planned, like it was all exciting and everybody was great. But I was like, oh, that was fast. Okay, we're really like fully committing to this now. It's can't take it back. And so kind of at that time, I was like, okay, I think that this would be like the perfect time now. Baby number 2 is coming. That I go all in on my Arbonne business and let's see what happens. And logically, that made a lot of sense. But one of the things that I will say that has always been my biggest hurdle in this business is the fear of what other people think. And I have really struggled for quite some time with the identity of being a nurse and how it became like a part of me. And so, I mean, I'm sure we all know, but like when people are asking you about like, oh, what do you do? And like, you're like, I'm a trauma nurse. And like the response I get, like, wow, that's so cool. Like you must see the coolest things, or it must be so crazy, whatever. Like you could probably imagine that when I say I'm an Arbonne consultant, I don't really get those responses. And so it took me a long time. And I truly believe that was one of the biggest reasons why I was maintaining as an area manager for 17 months before promoting to region, is because I could not, like in my brain, go all in on Arbonne. There was something that was holding me back. There was like this block wall that I was like, I was not ready for that to be what people thought about me I when they thought about me. You know what I mean? Like I just wasn't ready for that. And so it took me a lot of time. It took me a lot of growth. But one of the things that I will say is that my biggest superpower for this entire business, and I don't know where this came from, because I never did personal development before I did Arbonne. Like that all came from starting my business. I don't know where this consistency came from, but I was just so committed to being consistent no matter what was going on in my life. And I think that over the last I'm almost 4.5 years into doing my business, I personally believe that people's inconsistencies is truly the demise of their business. And I mean this as like, and I don't mean that life doesn't happen. Like life happens, you guys, it happens to every single one of us. And like, but I'll hear like, oh, my dog died. And then like people take a whole month off, or like I have a sick kid and then no one shows up on social media for like 10 days, or like I'm starting a new job, something that could be really exciting, but then it like takes them 6 months off of Arbonne to like adjust to this new normal and things like that. And I just am like, that will break your business. Like, because people lose trust with you. They don't even know if you're doing it anymore, like so much of that. And so I truly believe, like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, like it does happen to all of us, like things happen and you have to be able, like I was working as like a first responder, you guys, like I was seeing people die, I had kids die, I had to turn off life support on people's family members while they're bawling in the room. Like that shit is hard. And yet you still can show up and work a business, because I was able to be like, okay, this is my life now, but this is where my life is going. And so am I going to let these things that are really hard, like stop me from continuing? And so, yeah, take a day, maybe even 2. And like, you can share, like I would share with people, I'd be like, really crappy day at work today. Like, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I would just be really honest. And like, people respect that honesty, but it also is showing them that like you're human and that you can still show up even when things are hard, and you can talk about it tomorrow, or you can talk about it a week from now or whatever. But I was just really consistent no matter what I was doing. And I was never not talking about Arbonne at some point in someday, like ever. Right. And so even though I maintained being an area for 17 months, which was great, and I'm so grateful for that time because it truly helped me grow. I still was like showing up and building my business, and like things happened. I mean, in the year before we actually finished region, like we moved actually 2 times within the span of like a month and a half, because we had to like be out of our house before our next house was ready. And so like we moved in with my in-laws, and then we moved, and then my grandfather died and it was COVID and we weren't like even allowed to go and visit him, which was so crappy. I just remember that sucking so bad. And my husband like worked out of town like a lot throughout the weekends, because he used to coach university golf. And so he would travel for work for tournaments and he'd be fully gone. I also had a toddler. I worked part-time at the hospital still. And then I had a baby in August of 2021. Like all the things that like life throws at you, some are good, some are bad, some are super neutral, but it just like is what it is. But I was still super, super consistent. And so that is truly what I attribute our ability to go region was all about. It wasn't like 8-hour days grinding for 6 months. It was just like showing up throughout life for 21 months straight. And eventually we became a team that was capable of being regional vice president. So we ended up going into qual in November, which is a great time to go into qual. And then we did finish in December. And again, I hear a lot of limiting beliefs about finishing in December and people thinking it's not possible or that is way too hard or whatever. And I think you just have to like, that's just a story that you're going to tell yourself. I actually went into qual with 2 other people in November and we were all in this accountability chat and they were all like, yeah, January. And I was like, I'm leaving the chat. I was just like, my husband was like, you're not going into January. I was like, I'm not going into January. Like, I was like, I'm doing this in December. And so I think like that commitment truly is like how we finished. And so that's just a little like the Coles Notes version, obviously, of my story. But just know like life's not getting any less busy. If I had waited till the following year, like then I would have had 2 kids. Honestly, that following year of having 2 kids under 2 was way freaking harder, way harder. Like I'm so glad we finished when my baby was 3.5 months old or 4 months old, because like it got harder from that point on. So I'm just like so grateful that I didn't wait for things to get easier because they're still not. So, I mean, like, but so now I'm going to kind of bring you guys into the tactical stuff because the way that you see me right now is literally how I show up on social. I try to be really real and authentic and, like I don't really sugarcoat anything. But again, that's because I'm super clear on who I'm trying to attract into my business. And this is something that has taken time. So obviously, like when I first started, you guys, I want to say like truly energy equals QV. So when I first started, like I had no social media plan. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I was so freaking pumped on what I was talking about and like how I was feeling and the people I was helping that people were just like coming to me. And so if you're someone who you're like nervous, you're afraid, you lack a little bit of confidence, you do need to start small, but you need to at least start. Social is an amazing tool and it's just genuinely something that um I love for leverage of time. And I'm a like, do whatever works for you. I have some girls on my team that rock in-person parties. Like they love them so, so, so much. And in-person parties feel like a burden to me. Like and so you have to find what you're good at. And I'm just good at connecting through social. I do a lot of social media parties or like Facebook parties. Like I do the parties to meet new people and connect, but the in-person ones, I'm like 2 hours out of my house, like at bedtime, like we have actually a way that's easier. And so you'll hear from people like, you got to do this, you got to do that, and find what works for you. Do all of it, do it all, and then find what works. Like I've done my fair share of in-person parties as well and Facebook, and then I've just found that one that I like better. And so I don't think that there's any like good, bad, right, or wrong way to run your business anymore. I think there's so many different ways. However, what I will say is like I still meet with people a ton in person as well, like one-on-one coffee dates. And I'm talking about business and stuff. Like I do try to do the in-person thing, but my connection comes from social, like 99.9% of the time. And so excitement is definitely going to be your big thing. However, if you're past the excitement point, you want a little bit of like strategy and tactical. I'm going to share with you guys my strategy. And this isn't actually mine. I've been taking a business course the last little while, and this is in there. And I'm going to share it with you because I found it to be extremely impactful for who you're looking for when you show up on social. And so this is something that everybody can implement, and it's something called the soulmate client. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of this before, your soulmate client or your soulmate prospect or business partner. But basically, like we all know Ed Milet, love him, but he says a lot of the time, like you're best qualified to help the person that you used to be. So I want you to ask yourself, who is that person? So a journal prompt that all of you can do is ask yourself, who was I before this business or this product came into my life? And so I'll give you an example of myself. So when I think about who I was before I was introduced to this business, I was a mom, a new mom who was truly not fully fulfilled in motherhood full time. And if you guys know a little bit about human design, like I'm a manifesting generator. So for me, this makes perfect sense. Like as a Manny Gen, like we kind of have our hands in a bunch of different baskets, but somehow succeed at all of them because we need that a little bit of chaos or diversification in order to be good at it. Some other people might not work that way, but for me, I truly do. And so being in one thing does not serve me at all. Like I get burnt out. And I knew that that was going to happen for me. So I knew that I wanted to be home with my kids though, because I did not want to leave them for someone else to raise so that I could go out of the house to work. It made me want to die inside. And so this business opportunity truly gave me like the perfect creative outlet to like grow in my leadership skills and share about stuff that I was truly passionate about, which is health, wellness, and quite honestly, money. And I talk about money on Instagram all the time. And I know that sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about money. But like, to be honest with you, like I'm calling in people in my business who want to make money because I talk about money. And so, like you gotta share about it. If you don't care, like I have some girls on my team, like they don't care about money necessarily, but like they want acreage so they can have gardens and horses and chickens and like the homesteading life. And I'm like, well, you're not getting that without any money. So like talk about what the money can do for you. I just like money in general. I'm like, I like what it does for me. I like buying stuff. I like to be a consumer sometimes. I like to travel. I like to do things. And so that's what money does for me. So I am not afraid to talk about making money in any way. Um, but that helps me connect with people who are looking for that same thing, right? I'm just going to see where I'm at. So yeah, so that's who I was before I started this business, before this business was introduced to me, as I was the person who was looking for more fulfillment outside of motherhood, essentially. And now if you like watch my Instagram, you'll see that this is what I talk about 95% of the time in some capacity. I'm either talking about that, like the health, the wellness, or the money aspect, or like my family, right? Those are kind of like my four pillars that I work off of. 95% of it is going to be like the business in some way, like relating to those things. And then the other 5% is like kids, family, like sometimes other struggles, like this pink eye thing. You guys have no idea how many conversations I got in about freaking pink eye. Okay. But this is like a connection piece. It's like you have to switch it up a little bit. You want to give people some entertainment and some enjoyment and like make it fun. And so like that helps you connect with people. That other 5% or even 10% of like other stuff, life stuff that you're sharing. It helps people connect with you, and like you can share your struggles, whatever, but it makes you relatable and it helps you grow relationships in a completely different avenue that like eventually now they're watching you and what you're doing with Arbonne too. Now keep in mind, like that unfulfillment piece can be related to anyone. So like when you get clear on who you were before, think of other people who might not be in your exact scenario, but who this relates to. So like, for example, um, being unfulfilled can relate to anybody who's in like a deadbeat 9 to 5 job who absolutely hates it and they know they need to get out of it. So like, even though I was unfulfilled in motherhood and knew I needed something else, how does that relate to somebody who's not in my same position, but still wants the same outcome? So you can get creative with it, but this will impact your relatability to people. So like, I also talk like now, this is the first year, like since starting Arbonne, that I absolutely chose to close the door on my nursing career. Like I did not renew my license as a registered nurse. I am no longer a registered nurse anymore. And so that created a ton of connection with people, because now I'm like, went to university, got the degree, did all the things. And I'm showing people that like that piece of paper that I went to school for does not define my ability to actually fully live in my passion and my purpose. And so like you can change your mind when you learn new things and when you come to different conclusions about different things. Like you can change your mind. And I think that shows people a lot of strength. And I've had people be like, I've been so afraid to like quit my job after mat leave and just like not be employed and just like be a stay-at-home mom. And like, this is so cool that you're doing this, like whatever capacity it works for them. Like some people will take inspiration from you. So you just have to continue to share your journey and your story. And it might relate to them in some way, even though the outcome is different. You know what I mean? And so now that you've gotten like super clear on that person, so mine is the unfulfilled person, no matter what they're doing, mom, job, whatever, unfulfilled, looking for something that they love, they're passionate about, that they know is going to bring them so much joy. So now the next step of this is actually really, really crucial. And the first thing, which is going to be an easy one for everybody, is to ask yourself, okay, now you have this person, can you help them? So that's question number one, is can you help them? And for most of us, the answer is going to be yes, because you're here for some reason, right? So like I was actually here originally because I completely transformed my health and how I was feeling through the 30 days. So I know that I'm able to help people do the same thing. Then I started to build my business and see a little bit of success and also help other people build their businesses. So now I truly know that I am capable of helping people build a business. So for whatever reason you're here, maybe you were so freaking lonely at home being a stay-at-home mom that you needed to build community, and this business gave you community. So you're now qualified to help people become a part of a community, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't have to be financial yet. It doesn't even have to be your testimony to the products. I'm sure we all have them though. Like, that's usually the gateway that gets us here. So like, if you helped yourself do something, chances are you're capable now of helping somebody else. And so you need to lean on that. So most likely the answer to this question of can you help them is going to be yes. Now, the next question I'm going to ask is, do you like working with them? Now, this is super important. And what I mean by this, and I'll give you an example, is the people you're calling in through your message on social, do you like working with them? So if you have this ideal client, this soulmate client or business partner, but for some reason, the people you're calling in aren't those people, you might want to take a look at how you're marketing to your people. And I mean this with like the most love, but if we're constantly sharing on social media that like, you guys, like all I do is like post my greens every single day and like make money and like you could do this too. Like, who do you think you're drawing into your business? Like, you're probably drawing in people who don't want to work. And then you end up with a team of people who frustrate the hell out of you because all you told them is that they just have to post on their social these greens and like they're going to make money. And they're like, well, this isn't working for me, so I'm not going to do it anymore. And you're like, oh my goodness, like you can't do that. And so like I literally show up and I'm like, went to a launch party this weekend, went to another launch party this weekend, have an onboarding call with a new consultant today. I'm training on a team call tonight. I am going to a coffee shop and I'm going to work on my business course that I'm taking. And then I'm going to reach out to all of my clients because as a preferred client, you can have a free gift on your account. And so I'm going to let everyone know about their free gifts. Like, I'm walking people through what I do so that when people join me in business, they know I don't just post on my stories and pray that somebody reaches out to me, right? Like, they know that I'm out there and I'm working, and that brings people in who are like, I could do that though. Like, I could spend an hour on my computer and do that. And so then I get people who have an actual expectation that there's work involved. And so if you're marketing to a person who doesn't want to work, then they're probably not going to be your soulmate client or your soulmate business partner who you're calling in. Okay. And then the third question that now you've identified this soulmate person is, can they pay? And this is one that I see time and time again kind of become a problem for some of us. And I am of the belief, and this is maybe just my own personal belief, and you can take it or leave it. But if you are only posting about sales and only posting tap this to get a discount code and blah, 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 you are finding people with also the smallest and cheapest, or they're looking for the smallest and cheapest results. I have seen some people who have had massive change with the Green Gut Glow, but like, honestly, even with people who like, we were running with it for a little while with the Replenish Me of like Greens Gut Health and get the skin elixir for free, or like whatever combination you can do to get the other one for free. And the amount of conversations I'm in, you guys, with people who forget to take it because like the investment was just not there and they're not fully committed. Like, we need to stop that. Like, the 30 days healthy living program, if I even go back to my own story, and I'm sure so many of us have this testimony of like actually doing the 30 days. How did you feel? Like, how was your, like the 30 days changed my entire life, because not only was I fully committed, like sat down with my husband and like told him I'm not messing this up because I'm spending $350 on these products and like I'm committed. But then that opened up a complete other doorway that I never saw for my life, that completely transformed my entire life through a business opportunity. So like, those are the people we want to call in. And to be completely honest, if you think about product value for dollar, the 30-day bundle is unbeatable compared to any bundle. Like, if you have clients paying full price for Green Gut Glow, they're not on Replenish Me, they're just paying full price for Green Gut Glow. Literally, if you break down the 30 days into 2 months worth, like, it's almost the same price, right? It's like $402 or something for that one bundle, which works out to $200 a month, and they pay $180 for Green Gut Glow. Like, come on. Like, if you think about that, like, you're doing your clients a disservice by not sharing with them that the 30-day bundle, all those products are 50% off. You get 9 products because you oftentimes will get a free gift with it, right? And so we need to have that much conviction when we're sharing about the 30 days, because not only like your sales are going to be bigger, but that's service to your clients, because you're like, you're saving them a ton of money, and they will have the most life change. And people who invest are going to see that. The people that don't invest, they're not looking for something that's going to actually transform their entire life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful that we do have some smaller bundles for those smaller budgets. And I have seen people who do the Green Gut Glow and fall in love, but then they eventually do the 30 days, right? Because then they're like, they understand and they trust Arbonne as a company and the products that we have. And so that's just something to think about as well. Okay. So that's kind of what I'll say on that. So you need to know, like, who are we speaking to? You want to call in the people who see the value of the products. I am almost done, I swear. I'm like, I know I'm a little bit over time, but okay. So next thing about showing up on social media with that much conviction, that much power, you know who you're talking to now. You have to be okay with losing people. And I oftentimes see new consultants, which is totally fine. And I'm not meaning to, like, if this was you, like, throw a dagger at you and be like, oh, that one hurts. But I see people will create like a brand new Instagram, like for Arbonne. And I'm like, you're losing your entire network of people when you do that, the people who already know and trust you. And so I don't recommend doing it that way. I would say, like, if that's what you want to do and you want to have a place where people will like learn about Arbonne deals and different sales and like how you feel and testimonies and stuff like that, like create an email list. So like get people's emails, and you can send out an email once a month and a newsletter, whatever it is. So do that, but keep your original account. Like that's where the people who know you, like you, trust you are going to be. If you feel like I haven't shown up on there for a long time, like just start posting your life. It doesn't have to be crazy, but also know and just normalize that you're going to lose people. Like Jess Calagaro is one of the national vice presidents within our success line. And she talked about, like, when she first started Arbonne, she announced that she was going to be a consultant. She lost like 4,000 followers. That clearly did not impact her success in this business, because you are losing the people who don't care, and you're going to open up space for the people that are here listening to what you have to say, because you're now so like focused on who you're talking to. Right. So those people are going to be the ones that are going to be engaged. And those are really the only people that you care about, because those are the ones that are there and they want to help you, or they want your help as well. Right. So it kind of goes both ways, but you just have to normalize losing people and just let them leave. Like, it's okay. And it can be hurtful, and like, but just don't even look at the follower count, because it literally doesn't matter in like your ability to run a business. It doesn't matter. My last two tips are really, really short. And it's just, the first one is to, in social media, you have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over and over again. They say that it's like 60 to 70 exposures. We've probably all heard the statistic of something. So like if you're posting your Green Gut Glow, someone has to see it 60 times before they're ever like, oh, what's up? So if you are only posting once a week, I mean, there's only 52 weeks in a month, in a year, right? So it's like, it's over a year before people are getting enough exposure. So that's where the consistency factor comes in. Like, it might feel super freaking annoying to you because you're doing it every single day, but I'm telling you, like, you're not going to lose followers over posting your Green Gut Glow every day. You won't, because people won't even notice in the beginning. So it's like, keep going, keep showing up. Same thing with the business. Like, keep sharing the wins, keep sharing everything, because like you want it to land, and it eventually will land for people. And then my last one is, take your social and build culture and community outside of it. So like, that's a big thing that we try and do with our team, is like, so many, I would say 95% of my team, whether it's people that are direct to me or, you know, within other legs of our business, they've all come from social, but we all get together. Like, we try and run events. We do close nights every single month. Like, find people that are close to you if you don't have that, because people want to be a part of what you have, and they feel like they're having FOMO if they're not a part of it. And the amount of consultants that I've had come in there, they're just like, you guys look like you have so much fun. I don't even know what you do, but like, I'm willing to learn because I need connection. It's a lot of people, like a lot of people want that. And so you can build on social and then get together with people in person and build that community, because that's what's going to make people stay, because they're going to have relationships. And like, the amount of like play dates now that I get together with people on my team, just because we have kids the same age and all of this, like, I wouldn't have known these people before, but now we all get together. We don't even work all the time, but we just get together with our kids, and we're now in that community. And like, the amount of moms that like are like, hey, like, when, like, could we get together too? Like, I would love to do that, because whatever, right? Or like, if you are somebody who you like to go work in cute cafes, like, meet up with people who like to work in cute cafes. Like, just build community and connection with people on social, and you never know where it's going to go. And so those are the things now for me that like once you are super clear on who you're talking to, you're going to run your business in that way. And you're going to talk to those people. And then it leads to how you create content, how you create reels, how you show up on your stories. That's your blueprint. So every single one of us is going to have our own blueprint. And so don't copy anybody else's, like do it for yours, because then you're going to be able to call in those people who are exactly where you were, and then you're going to be able to help them. So that's kind of it. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything. I know we kind of went over time, but yeah, maybe that was helpful. Maybe it was a new spin on the social thing that you guys haven't heard before and might be helpful to somebody.
No, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I have like 3 pages of notes because I was trying to write it all down. I'm just
Good.
curious, what is the like the you said you're doing like a program right now or whatever. What's the name of it? Can you say what it is?
Yeah, it's called Millionaire Mentor. It's by Marley Rose Harris. I don't know if you guys know her. She's very into like manifestation, money, feminine energetics, that type of thing. So it's very like less masculine, like go, 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 push hard type of work, and more like how do we get in flow and be like more in tune with ourselves and what feels good and aligned to us. And it's been a really, really cool program so far. So I really like it.
Amazing. Well, thank
Definitely.
you so much for sharing. I think like your story is so relatable to so many and not just about like being a mom and having a career, but just like you said, like you wanted fulfillment outside motherhood and you wanted to have that time and flexibility. And
Mhm.
it's funny because you did all those things that, society tells us to do and you still weren't fulfilled. And
Yeah.
now you never see yourself doing something like this. And you've completely changed not only your life, but so many other people's lives around you. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And I love that you said, one second, I'm just gonna read my notes here, that people's inconsistency is their demise. And it's so true. And from someone who has taken a step back in my own business and I've owned that, like that it was like pushing a boulder up a hill when I started again. And there's no point in doing that. And just be honest and like being authentic and sharing the hard too, like you said. But like everyone has their own hard, but Arbonne isn't that hard. You just have to be consistent. And
Mhm.
it's like it can be easy, but it's like when you're talking about trauma, being a trauma nurse, that sounds hard. Like I couldn't personally do that.
Way
And
harder.
so,
It's way
right?
harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like so amazed. I love all your tips about social media. I don't know if anyone does have any questions. But seriously, thank you so much for your time. And I love that you talked about the 30-day bundle, and that just makes so much sense. Like you just like blew my mind. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to go message all my clients right now because they're on the
But
replenishment. I'm
seriously,
like,
like
ah.
go through your reports and look at everyone who's purchased Green Gut Glow like within the last 6 months. If they've purchased it more than once, like they need to do the 30 days, and it's like such a simple ask.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. And do you do an email list too?
I do have one.
You
Yeah. And
do? Yeah.
and I find that it works really, really well. It's just another way of communicating with people in a different way. And sometimes, like, I mean, I do a whole bunch of stuff. So, like, I do a main newsletter with like all the different, like promos and stuff that are going on, but then I'll post like 30 days healthy living recipes in there. So like even though people aren't, and then I'll be like, I did this workout from our 30-day group and I'll post like a Pilates workout on YouTube that people can do. Like I try and add value to it as well. But yeah, like, and I find it works really good. And then sometimes I'll be like, check inside for something sneaky, and it'll have like 2 host codes in there. And then like, be like, once they're gone, they're gone. Like, so I kind of make it fun and do things like that.
I love that. What platform do you use for like the email
I
list?
use MailerLite. I can type it in the chat.
Okay, yeah. And then I think Mickey has a question next. I just wanted to know what,
Yeah.
because I know there's so many different ones. So I love that. But yeah, Mickey, if you want to unmute, go ahead.
There we go. Hi. Oh my goodness. My hair is like horrible.
Sorry. I
I
have
haven't
big
been on
bets.
here in a while. Yeah, I just wanted to say I could like totally relate to the whole going to university, getting that piece of paper.
Mhm.
And like I took a step back from my business for a while. It's been quite a few months and wanting to get back into it. But then I'm just sitting there going like, in 3 years' time, my daughter is going to outgrow daycare. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't want her on the bus. Right. But then spent all this time and money on my paralegal diploma. And, I'm a litigation assistant now, and I can totally relate to like identifying yourself as like people ask me what I do, and I'm like, oh, I'm a litigation assistant and Evelyn's mom. Right.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is just like, how did you let go of your trauma nurse title, and like, how did it, at what point were you able to just kind of shut that door and just be like, it'll be okay? Because for me, like, I've my life is crazy. 5 o'clock in the morning every day, and I don't go to sleep until 10 o'clock at night. And I just go like 7 days a week, right? So I'm just like, what am I going to do with all of that time?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for me, it honestly was a baby steps journey. Like, I won't say that there was just one thing that like I woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm done being a nurse. Like, it really took some time. But I started with really simple things. This actually, I'm pretty sure. So Carly Pinchin's my direct upline, and I'm pretty sure she told me this. She said, "What about if somebody asks you what you do, you just tell them that you do Arbonne instead of the other thing, instead
Hmm.
of being a nurse." And I was like, "Oh my God, that sounds like the cringiest thing you could ask me to say." Like, it felt so like so, because I've always had this like, I shouldn't say always, because I definitely don't have this anymore. Because I'm like, I know you have to be a badass person to like be a good entrepreneur in network marketing. But like, my initial thing with network marketing was like, bored stay-at-home moms with no hobbies do network marketing. Like, that was my thing. So I was like, if I start to identify as somebody who does that, I'm classifying myself as a bored stay-at-home mom with no hobbies, right? Who doesn't make any money. Like, that was another thing too. I was like, oh, they don't make any money. So like, I would never do that. I like money, right? So I had to, that was like my first baby step, was just like, okay, people would ask me and I'd say, I do Arbonne. And it felt disgusting at first, like absolutely disgusting. And you're probably like, yeah, I feel that if somebody asked me. But then eventually it stopped feeling less gross and it started feeling more normal. And then, I like, fortunately for me, like being a nurse, like I had the opportunity to go casual. And then so I started working a little bit less and pouring more time into my Arbonne business. And it just slowly, I started to change, like, okay, now I do Arbonne and being a nurse is my side hustle. And I would kind of say that. And I would be like, I'm an Arbonne consultant and then I'm a nurse on the side. And I would just like, I would slowly change it and play with it and like see what felt good to me. But it truly was just baby steps. And I also had to keep reminding myself, like, the nursing life was not for me. Like, I was not working 48-hour weeks. I was not doing nights. I was not doing shift work. I was not missing Christmases. Like, my son's first Christmas, well, first real Christmas, because he was like 4 weeks old or 5 weeks old or whatever at his first Christmas. Like, his first real Christmas, like, I worked a night shift on Christmas Eve and I got off at 7 a.m. in the morning on Christmas Day. Like, I
Oh,
did,
yikes.
right? Like, I didn't get the luxuries of having holidays off as a nurse. So I knew like that wasn't my path. So I was like, okay, is this like identity thing holding you back from like the life you actually want? Like, I had to make it like mean something to me. Otherwise, like, I would just be stuck in the same thing. So it had to start to mean something. So eventually I was like, no, the Arbonne life is the life I want. So like, get rid of this other one. And it just like slowly over time
Mhm.
started to shift for me. I don't know if that's helpful, but like, I truly had to make it like mean something. Like, by nursing, I'm taking away this.
Yeah, no, for me, being the litigation assistant, it's coming home from work like completely worn out to the point
Yeah.
where I don't have a lot of energy for my daughter and she misses me a lot. And constantly, like where I work now, the lawyer that I work for, George, like he's amazing. He's a great boss, but he calls me and texts me in the evening and on the weekends when I'm supposed to be with my daughter. And I have to remind him all the time, like, listen, you're on Evelyn time, not George time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's just like the nature of my job. So it's either work for a small firm where I have someone calling me all the time, and I'm want to take 2 weeks off and next summer to go back home because I'm from Vancouver Island, and I'm worried about leaving him because he can't handle stuff on his own, right? Or
That
I go
sounds like
work
a
at another big
boundaries
firm.
problem.
I was just gonna say
Yeah, no, it is.
boundaries.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
totally boundaries.
it's
Yeah,
a
no, and
boundary
I
thing.
do
And
struggle with it.
you could totally settle those boundaries and like you could just stop responding. Like, honestly, I would just stop responding. Like, he's a grown man and he's a lawyer actually. So he's capable of,
Yeah, so it's just
right?
like that's working for a small firm, or I go to a bigger firm and I've got like seven lawyers on my hands and I'm like stressed out all the time and stuff. So yeah, I just thank you though. That was really helpful. I feel
Yeah.
like it would be something really gradual that I would have to do. But
Yeah. Just
I feel
maybe
like the verbalizing would definitely help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the baby steps, and
Yeah.
also like, what do you want your life to look like? Like, you don't want to come home to Evelyn every day completely burnt out. And that was like me, like
No.
Baker, like I would go to work I'd leave at 6:30, I'd be home at 7:30. I wouldn't see him all day. I hated it. So
Yeah.
like knowing that you have the power to change it in your hands is something that's really powerful. So it can be like a really empowering experience too.
Yeah.
Totally. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much. And even so, like if you don't have, like if you're not a mom yet, like build it before you need it too, right? Like build it before you don't, so you don't have to worry about this. But thank you again so much. I don't want to go over too much because I know we've had a couple calls, but I appreciate you so much. Go give her a follow on Instagram. She's real, she's authentic. She shows up as she is, and I absolutely love her. So thank you for your time, Aisha. I so appreciate it. And yes, okay, have a good night, everybody.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.